have a look and see if Cults is there. Take the stand, please. You're still an oath.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions to ask?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Bacchus,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I have a comment to make before I ask maybe a question or two.
Yes, sir.
First, I'd like to commend you, right, for the courageous actions you performed that day.
Yes, ma'am.
All right? Whether your actions were on behalf of a number of inmates or a couple of folks close to you, because during the break I was reflecting, if I were placed in that same situation, whether in your very same situation as inmate or confronted by it as a prison officer, how would I react? You know? Because our tendency as human beings is normally one of self-preservation. And that is why I think there is that famous piece of invocation, do not put us to the test. All right, a question. You said that Collinson, right?
Yes,
Did I hear you correctly when you said that he was assaulted earlier, in the early part of your statement? Because sometimes, you know,
Yes,
we tend, yes? Sometimes we tend to use our words a bit loosely. You know, like, for example, I gonna abuse you, you know, when we mean I will speak roughly to you or harshly to you, not that I'm gonna abuse you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you help the commission to break down, you know, what you mean by you saw him being assaulted. Describe the assault.
He was handled by the officers.
Handled. In what way was he handled? He was like chopped, you know, pushed, shoved.
They picked him up from the ground in a rough way. Also, the way they fetched him.
And when he was picked up from the ground, what happened?
The way they fetched him.
What?
The way how they fetched him away.
The what?
How they carry him away.
Oh, they carried him away.
Yes.
So they just picked him up and carried him
Money
away.
which
Did they
carried
pick him up and dashed him to the ground or anything like that?
I didn't see the dash him to the
You
ground.
didn't see him, so, all right. Because, you know, as I say, sometimes we use our words, you know,
Yes, ma'am.
harshly too. Collinson, did he, during the search, or let's say before the search, there was a search in the room. Was there a search in the room, in the dormitory, before?
Search the day before.
There was a search the day before.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know, to your knowledge, anything was taken away from him the day before?
I can't say if it was directly from him.
Okay. What about on the tarmac? Were you in a position to see when he was searched on the tarmac, if anything was taken away from him?
No, ma'am. I was concentrating on doing my
Okay.
stuff.
So you weren't in a position to see? Okay. Now, I think there was an additional comment though, because you're aware, you've come in front of this commission we're duty bound under the law. There's a special piece of law, right, that protects witnesses, whether you're prison officers, inmates, other witnesses that come in front of us. We're duty bound to ensure, as far as possible, that you are protected. In this instance, in your instance, if after you leave today, and there's any inmate officer who tries to, within the prison confines or around this public hearing area, tries to, abuse you, threaten you, whatever, you have the responsibility to report it to this panel or also to the Director of Prisons. You're aware of that? Are you aware of that, sir?
No, ma'am, no, I'm aware of it.
You're not aware of it. But you would you have heard other inmates saying, though, that this protection is there as far as possible?
Can't say, ma'am.
All right, well, you would remember that, right? Also, too, just another quick, and that will be my final comment. And this is more directed to ourselves and the media operatives who are here, because while you were giving your statement and you were talking about videoing, you named the person. You recall that? You don't have to say the name, but you named the person.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now for those media operatives who are here, Section 10 of the Act, right, clearly states that as commissioners we are all protected, from libel, no suits, etc. That coverage is not there for the media. So please bear it in mind, because we heard a name being given of a person who was doing some videoing. Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Bacchus, just a few points of clarification.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, was the northern gate door ever opened during this ordeal? The northern gate, the gate at the side gate, the side door. Was it ever opened during this whole incident?
Yes, sir. Afterwards, after everything happened, the
Okay.
gate was open.
So that is the door that you opened?
No, the front door, sir.
Okay. So you or the officers opened that front door?
Yes, sir.
Who?
Pardon me?
Was who opened the front door? Actually opened the front door?
I always say the assistant to the officer too, sir, along with myself and the other inmates.
And the side door, who opened the side door?
The side door was opened by one of the officers.
Okay. I know you had some difficulties in terms of saying precise timings of events. But you could recall, could you advise us, from the last time you saw officers attempting to open the door and your intervention, what was the time lapse?
It was a little while after, sir.
Say again?
It was a little while after.
Okay. What do you consider a little while?
No, couple minutes, well, sir.
All right. No final questions.
You may stand up. Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Apologies. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
When we left off, we were speaking about the inmates' culture. You recall that? And we were talking about coachers, and we were talking about the code of silence, and you sort of looking out for your fellow inmates back.
I could recall.
And you agreed with me that that is how it goes in the prison. That's how prison operates, right?
At a certain level, yes, sir.
Right. So let's talk now about the events on March 3rd of 2016. You mentioned that you were one of the officers who you were one of the inmates who retrieved the bodies of the fellow inmates.
Yes, sir.
And you testified that you were one of the inmates who went to get the inmates' attention on the living unit Capital Block A, the new Capital Block. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
And remind the panel, how is it that you got the attention of the inmates? Where did you go to get their attention?
I went to the side door.
You went to the side door.
Yeah.
And how did you get to the side door?
Walk on the catwalk.
And what did you do when you got to the side door?
I started talking to the inmates that was there.
And that was the first occasion you started talking to the inmates?
That was there, yeah. That was in the building. He said building.
You'd agree with me you had to pass 4 large windows.
Yes, sir.
You passed 4 large windows and you went to the door. Is that what your evidence is?
Upon calling, why is
No, hang
walking
on.
out?
Just answer my question. You passed 4 windows to get 4 large windows. Large open windows just barricaded by bars to get to that window, to the door,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Is there any reason why you didn't start it calling out from the first window?
I did. I mentioned it before.
You mentioned it. You mentioned what?
I started calling